Oh my gosh. Do you guys know that it's true that you are an innovator no matter what your field of expertise? Do you guys know that? Do you know that innovation and the method that you're currently already using applies to every single thing that you do? And did you know why where you're at right now is the perfect place to be? We're going to talk about these things. I cannot wait for you to meet my guest today. She's off the charts amazing, not only with who she is as a person, but her brilliance doesn't even register on normal charts. And I cannot wait for you to meet her and see what she's doing now after her tenure building rockets and sending things to space. So we are on the Erin Strayer Show. And if you are watching from any other platform other than the Erin Strayer Show, there's a link right above you. Go ahead and click that. Come on over here so we can see you and we can say hello to you. I know people are joining us already. People are excited to hear our goodness of our Amy today. And I can't wait. Who am I? I'm Erin Strayer, and recovering corporate and entrepreneurs hire me, get them business beyond basics, because most of them are indecisive. They're held hostage by their own fear and honestly, plain old complacent. So I help them move past the I can't do that, what's the next step, and I don't know how, standing in their way. The bottom line, I provide them executive level accountability sessions so that your business gets the attention to detail it deserves, making you more money. Are you guys ready to meet my guest? Are you ready? I'm going to give her a little 3-second warning. I could talk about this lady seriously all day. Amy Simpkins!
I feel like I need to do a dance or something. Like, that was an amazing intro. I need to come dancing onto the set or something.
Okay.
There you go. Here I am. Hello.
Hi, friend. So
Hi.
Seriously, brilliant, off the charts. Let's give that credit where it goes. MIT engineer graduate, worked for NASA, send things to outer space.
Yes, ma'am. All of this is true. My mother likes to introduce me as a rocket scientist, and she is not incorrect.
And you're on the Erin Strayer Show.
I am. Yeah, I got to work on, as an aerospace engineer, I got to work on manned spacecraft, the new manned spacecraft Orion, which is kind of slowly making its way through final testing. But I got to work with the astronaut corps and help them figure out what the best way to lay out the cockpit was going to be. I've also operated interplanetary exploration spacecraft. If you see any of those awesome pictures of Jupiter that are coming back, sometimes they come on your Facebook feed, those are from my spacecraft. That's Juno, and she is currently there at Jupiter taking unprecedented pictures of the poles. So
no kidding.
It was a dream to work in that space.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Serious. That's when people say, well, you're not a rocket scientist. Well, yes, you are.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it still doesn't mean I know how to figure out all your electronics or things like that. Just
how to program the TV.
Right. Exactly.
So not only that, you're an international speaker. You speak all over the world. You're an author, got a newly released book. We're going to talk about that today. You are a coach. You are a CEO for a startup company.
Yes,
all
ma'am.
about renewable energy.
That's right.
What else can you do?
I can sing pretty well. I was a vocal music minor in college. And I'm a good but messy chef.
I love that. I love that. And you guys, just in case you think that she can't handle anything more, she homeschools her kids. And you're what, orange belt Taekwondo?
I am testing for my orange belt on Friday. That would be tomorrow, actually. So tonight will be my final practice before testing. I think I'm ready. My son took up Taekwondo first. He's 7. And they ran a promotion for moms in May for Mother's Day. And I got totally hooked. And it's an awesome thing for my son and I to practice together. And I really love martial arts. It's learning something for the sake of learning. Just to show up and be present with a practice is completely different from the way I run the rest of my life, being very driven forward and always looking for an accomplishment or a goal. And so that's what I love about practicing martial arts.
I love that. I love that. And one of your main I know that one of the RJ who's watching us, she also is very involved in one form or another of martial arts. I don't know exactly, but she, I think, is one of the belt colors also. And fairly accomplished in the martial arts area there. So that's really kind of cool. And you guys that are watching live, I appreciate that you're on here live. Make sure you say hi to us. But let me know your thoughts on this lady so far before we go by. I want one word comments on Amy and who she is in the world right now and what she does. I know, and that's going to be fun. So your main focus right now, like, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about your renewable energy startup company, or do you want to talk about your coaching?
I would love to talk about innovation.
Let's talk about that.
Innovation like ties together everything that I do, present tense, and everything I have ever learned, past tense. And I'm coming into this realization that like, this is like my true work in the world is like innovation and the message that you can do amazing, world-changing, globally impacting things by innovating. But you can also build up your own personal, fulfilling, dreamy life by innovating. And to me, it's the ultimate integration of all of these parts of our lives that come together to form one thread through the middle. Like, what are you innovating? What are you creating? What are you bringing to the world that's new? And that's really what I love to geek out about that and talk about that. So let's talk about innovation for a while.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Like, how does it connect? Like, how like, my background is medical. So how does innovation come into that?
Well,
actually, like, just do it. Just talk about it. Just tell me.
Well, what's your medical background? Tell me about that.
Cardiac surgery.
Cardiac surgery.
Yeah.
Were you a surgeon?
I assisted the surgeons and I trained the surgeons.
Awesome. So like, there's huge amounts of innovation going on right now in medical and biomedical engineering. I mean, in surgery specifically, technology is assisting surgeons. Sometimes surgeons are running robots that are actually doing the surgery with, more precision than ever before, less errors, less opportunity for human error. Other medical devices are like making our lives better and easier. I have a buddy who their company just went IPO on a sleep apnea device called Inspire that's going to replace CPAP machines, which are bulky and uncomfortable and hard to sleep in. And his technology is taking that place to make people's lives better. So a lot of times when we think of innovation, we think in these terms. We think of like technology, we think of inventions, devices, and widgets. Right. And so I think the vast majority of people who maybe aren't working in that sort of space are like, well, that's not me. I'm not an inventor. I don't do that. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a part of a team, a product team that's building some device that's but in reality, you innovate every day, especially you guys who are listening right now. You are illustrious entrepreneurs. You are highly motivated. You are driven. And every day in your business, you are creating solutions to address the needs of your clients. That's the definition of innovation. And when you hear like those business and marketing like gurus and coaches who tell you need to find your unique selling proposition, like what makes you unique, like that's also what makes you an innovator, because innovation is creating a solution to a problem, solving a problem in the way that it's never been solved before, adding your own little personal spin on it, your own little spirit infused into it. And that brings us to the next point where, like, I think most people think about innovation that it's like cold, hard math, cold, hard hardware. It's impersonal. But innovation is really the fusion of like the cold, hard solution infused with your own personal idea your personal spirit, your personal passion, and all of those like softer stuff, that like emotional stuff, it's in there. And that's what makes innovations great. That's what makes innovations disruptive. It takes someone emotionally saying, enough, I'm going to do it a different way, to be an innovator. And once you get to that point and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I get you, Amy. I am an innovator. I create unique solutions for my clients all the time by intuitively listening to their needs, by deeply connecting with them and just wanting to serve them truly. Yes, I'm an innovator. It's not a really far leap to say that, well, if you're building your own life by design, you're innovating that too. You're creating a unique life that's pieced together from all of these desires and wishes and dreams and preferences that only you have in this unique combination. That's why your lifestyle isn't going to work for anybody else. And anybody else's, straight up 9 to 5, factory produced lifestyle isn't going to work for you either, because you're an innovator. You need something fresh and new and personal and infused with your spirit, your passion, your ideas. So not only are you innovating in business, you're innovating in your personal life as well. So I like to say that like innovation is for everybody. Everybody. And it really is the key to deep personal fulfillment and also then sustainable global change. I think as entrepreneurs, a lot of times we want to change the world. We come in with these like big ideas that we're like, this is going to change everything. I want to make a difference in the world. And that gets overwhelming because the world's a big place with a lot of people and a lot of stuff that needs changed. But innovation is how we link our individual selves into the planetary. It's how we connect the individual to the global. And how we can kind of break it down so that that global perspective, that desire for global change doesn't seem quite so overwhelming.
You guys, do you just want to keep her talking? Like totally passionate, totally into your subject. I love it. You guys give me some comments if this is making sense to you, what Amy's saying, and how we're all innovators, and because we're so passionate and because we're so driven to follow our cellular need to do whatever it is we do, right? That's where you're going. Because of that, we technically are innovators, and we are developing, and we are producing, and we are creating, and we are masterminding amazing things. Yeah. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. It keeps coming up. Here we go. I was enthralled just listening. That's our Amanda Berbachek. She's amazing. Yep. We got a shout out here too. Huh. Is that a relative? Travis?
That would be my husband.
Hi, Travis.
And my CTO of my renewable energy company. So Kent Lee is our friend. He's a dear friend of my husband's from college and doing work in this sleep apnea solution. So yeah, nice. Total shout out to Inspire. They're doing amazing things, and they're really going to change things for a lot of people.
I love that. I love that. Every single person in my family is on CPAP machines. So that's beautiful. And they all hate them.
Yeah.
So Amy, let's bring it back in, because this is about you. What inspired you to step out and you call yourself a vision architect?
Yes, ma'am.
Which I love that, by the way. When you sent me your bio, I'm like, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Let's talk about that for a second.
What inspired me to be a vision architect or embrace that? Is that the question? Yeah. Okay. So it's funny because I'm constantly looking for the threads that run through my life. Like, what can I grab onto that's themes? Like, what's the narrative arc of my life? I don't know. I have a compulsion to discover, why it's part of the question for me of why am I here? What am I going to offer the world? And so I look for these common threads. I decided I wanted to be an astronaut when I was 12 years old, but it wasn't like the, you know, a kid like, I'm going to be an astronaut. Like I did everything from the time I was 12 for about 25 years after that was directed at the goal of being an astronaut. And I got to the first application for the astronaut program that was open when I was eligible. I'd gotten my master's degree. I had done all of these, you know, various certifications. I had gotten professional experience in the field. I was, you know, working embedded with NASA, like all of this stuff that was aligning me perfectly to get to this goal. And the application page was open on my computer. And I went to like hit the submit button. And I was like, I don't think that I want to do this. I think I have, I mean, astronauts are cool, right? Who doesn't want to fly in space? I still want to fly in space. Of course we want to fly in space. But like being an astronaut in terms of like the work that I wanted to do in the world, like that be my legacy. I was like, I think I'm supposed to be doing something different, something more rooted in creativity, more like innovative, more original. You know, astronauts are wonderful, very smart people, but they operate the spacecraft that's been built for them, you know? And I wanted to generate new things. And I stopped and I didn't do that. And there was a whole lot of emotional fallout there that was like, oh my gosh, if I'm like my entire life, certainly my entire adult life, this is who I had been from 12, that like, if I am not Amy, who's going to be an astronaut, or Amy, the astronaut, who am I? And so I lost you know, I assumed that since I knew what I was going to do, that was it. I was done. I didn't have to do any more like personal development work. I got it, you guys. Like I got my vision. I got my goals. Like, I don't need to take your program.
Raise your hand, people.
Well, I know. And there are people who are like me, and there are people who are like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Because I know there are people who didn't have a big driving goal.
There's two separate lanes, right? You're either like me and you, and like, I already did that. I got it. I'm good. I don't need any more. Or they're, what the heck are you talking about?
And so this is sort of a lesson for those people, the second, like who like never had a big driving goal. Like, just because I had a big driving goal doesn't mean it was like the only thing I was ever going to do in my life. And man, that idea was a sucker punch to the gut. Like I thought it was the thing I was going to do forever. And all of a sudden it wasn't. And so I kind of redirected around in engineering, and I discovered through my very first mentor, Cliff Gates at Lockheed Martin, wonderful guy, and very like systems level thinker, big picture, you know, very like my book, very like masculine, feminine, integrated, like, you know, and his title was Spacecraft Systems Architect. And I was like, yes, that's what, and I got obsessed with the idea of architecture. Architecture, you know, most people think of architecture in terms of building,
right?
Buildings. And so that's a good example. Let's go there. The architect of a building project is responsible for all of the technical functionality and for meeting all of the requirements. Like it's got to be up to code, and it's got to have fire protection, and it's got to, if it's an office building, it's got to have space for people to work in an office and be a pleasant place to work in an office. But we all know that the most famous, the most prolific architects are also very talented artists, right? Those buildings that you see, when we go to see architecture, like in the wild, in cities, and those buildings that kind of make you go, oh, like the dramatic sweep of the roof line or the detail around the doorway, you know, and so architects are both extremely technically competent, and it's very like, you know, cold, hard math. And they're also extremely artistic. So to me, the discipline of architecture is one of those fusions of these like left brain and right brain capacities, these masculine and feminine capacities, logic and art, you know, engineering and creativity. And it's the same, like you have software architects who do the same kind of thing for a software system, or spacecraft architects, which is what I was doing, who hold the big picture vision for the spacecraft. Not only like does it work, but does it work well? Is it easy to use? And is it addressing all of these various needs of clients and stakeholders and customers and users who may have different end goals, and fusing that all together into one solution that's going to deliver you the most beautiful pictures of Jupiter you've ever seen in your life. So that architecture like role was definitely spoke to everything about who I am and what I wanted to do and everything. And I embraced it in the spacecraft domain. And when I finally realized that I was not going to be served by working in corporate, and that I wasn't serving the world by working in corporate, and I left to start my business coaching business, I had another identity crisis. I mean, the whole past 5 years of my life have been one large identity crisis. But it was like, you know, if I'm not an engineer, if I'm not a spacecraft architect, well, what am I? And it was one of those like aha in the shower moments where I'm washing my hair and I'm like, I'm an architect. I've always been an architect. I will always be an architect. I will always represent, embody, pursue the fusion between left brain and right brain, structure and flow, masculine and feminine, engineering and art, always. And that comes into like when it was business development coaching, for my clients, it was giving them enough structure that they needed in their business development to create the space they needed to be ultimately creative and create flow in their business. So it's the fusion of that. And now I'm a CEO of a bootstrap tech startup. Who knew? And, you know, we are very much about the fusion of, yeah, we got to understand the technology. We got to understand the economics. And we do a lot of really advanced analysis using software and math, cold, hard math. But we're also, our other unique selling proposition for my startup is that we're human. We're smart, curious humans. We're always going to be curious about our clients' specific situation, how we can serve them better, how we can better meet their energy needs. We're never going to try and sell them some boxed solution unless that's truly what they need. And so, you know, we represent as a company, New Grid Analytics is the fusion of this, like, you know, the cold hard math with the human element that's going to craft the narrative, that's going to, that's going to make both your logical decision about energy and your emotional decision the same answer. Yeah, I think that's right. And if you read my new book, Spiral talks about that. Spiral talks about the dichotomies that we like to, you know, we like to say like, well, I'm left-brained. I like math and logic. I said this when I was younger. I actually said to someone said was like, oh, wow, you know, you're really supportive of people and encouraging, like you should be in education or in counseling. And I was like in high school at the time. And I was like, I like math. I don't like people. Like, why would I ever do something like that? And so me too. I said, like, I am left brain. I am not right brained. I will never be a painter. That's true. I will never be a painter. I will never be, you know, an artist in the traditional sense of the word. But that does not mean I don't create art. And it was a long life lesson for me to learn that. And so Spiral talks about, you know, breaking down saying, oh, I'm right brain, not left brain, or I'm an introvert, not an extrovert. Oh, I need lots of structure. I never go with the flow. Like you do. It just depends on which phase of your creative cycle you're in, which tools of your toolbox are you going to be able to use. And regardless, the bottom line is because you're able to fuse these seemingly opposite things together, you're an architect too. You're an architect, you're an innovator, and it's all there inside you. You just have to access the tools.
So your book is available.
It is.
Let's talk about that some more too. Like, did I put the right link up? It's thespiralbook.com.
Thespiralbook.com. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And there you can get to Amazon. You can read the description. You can read some testimonials. And if you want to, you can order a signed copy from the author.
Is that you? That's you.
That's me.
That's you.
I'm still getting used to that. Like I'm an author thing. I don't know.
It's kind of cool. It's got a capital A on it. And it's really, really cool. And I'm really super proud of you.
For the audience at home, the book officially launched on Tuesday, so 2 days ago. So I've been a launched author for 2 days.
Congratulations, because that's huge. That's really, really huge. And not only is this like an amazing book, I read like the little quippy on, the quick read on Amazon, and I'm like, ooh, and it's already in my cart on Amazon, because I want to read it, and I want to know, and I want your intake on things. And so Spiral is like, give us the rundown of it, heart, passion project, and all of that.
So back to talking about like things that combine and fuse everything I've ever learned, that would be this book. So the concept of spiral started in engineering for me. I think we all come to the spiral maybe from different places, but for me, I came to it from engineering. And in engineering, kind of back in the day, think about like the Apollo program. They had the engineer community had a very linear way of looking at product development. So John F. Kennedy said, we're going to go to the moon. And the engineers said, yes, we're going to design a spacecraft. Then we're going to build the spacecraft. Then we're going to test it a little bit. And then we're going to launch it to the moon. Now, you can do that. It's possible, as we saw in Apollo, but it's really expensive to do that, as we saw in Apollo. And it's very risky in terms of like technical risks. And it can be risky. I mean, in Apollo, we lost lives because we made mistakes and there was a big fire and astronauts died. Now, in your business, you probably don't have the risk of loss of life. But I mean, that should tell you what the stakes are of this like linear method of thinking. Like if you don't provide any opportunity to come back around and incorporate lessons learned, to reevaluate what you're doing, to make sure you're on the right track, mistakes will be made and there will be consequences. And the size of those consequences kind of depend on what you're doing and how big of a risk you took. But make no mistake, like there will be mistakes because we're human. Like that just happens. Yeah. So when we get in the engineering world, and so when I came into, I'm going to bounce back and forth a little bit. When I came into entrepreneurship, which it was, relatively shortly after that astronaut application fiasco, that I discovered the world of entrepreneurship. And I said to myself, oh my gosh, people do this. People create their own livelihood and they offer something of incredible value to the world. And I could do this. When I came into that world of entrepreneurship and I did a whole bunch of reading, I saw this linear mindset. I took the courses that we all take that are like, if you just follow these 10 simple steps, you too will be making multiple six figures in 90 days or less.
In 90 days or less.
And that's just like these step one step, the just step-by-step method. It's exactly the same as what we saw in engineering of this linear thinking. Like I'm going to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and boom, we're done, with no opportunity for asking questions, learning about yourself, learning about your client, learning about your product and your process. And man, for an early stage entrepreneur, that's scary. Like, you got experts screaming in your ear, you got to have a niche. And you're like, I have no idea. I just started this. None of us have that clarity when we're first starting out. So
thank you. Thank you.
So to go back to engineering for a second, what happened was we rolled into like the 80s. Now the big thing in tech is software. We're starting to develop software. Computers are like becoming a household item and like they're shrinking down from the size of large rooms. And so software is starting to be the most cutting edge innovative technology. And the software engineers said, this linear method of working, it takes too long to like wait for the knowledge to come. And like we said, it's too expensive. It's too risky. Like we can't work like this. And so there was a guy who proposed an iterative method. So iterative means to do something multiple times. Like you come around again. And he called it spiral development. And it was this engineering design methodology to develop a system, so to give you the opportunity to say, like, okay, the first time we go around, I don't know that much. I have a problem and I think I know how to solve it vaguely. And so I'm going to try it and see how it works. So I'm going to design a very small solution. Maybe what you're designing in the first time around the spiral, it's just back of the envelope or on a bar napkin. But then I'm going to like do some calculations on it, maybe test it out. Like, would that actually work? Okay, well, based on my bar napkin, like, I'm not going to pursue this one idea, but this other idea is really good. So now I'm going to go around the spiral again. And this time I'm going to build a prototype, maybe. And I'm going to try it out again. And maybe I'll test it in the field. Maybe I'll test it in front of actual users or clients and see how they like it. And you can kind of see where this is going. And then maybe, you know, who knows? Oh, hello, wasp. He decided to come over. There's a wasp who just decided to. So you go around again, and it's funny because in the middle of the, we still design software like this today. If you think about Microsoft, Windows, how many versions of Windows have there been?
A bazillion.
I think the number is in the 800s. I have that statistic somewhere. I should have looked it up before this. But
you didn't know you needed it.
I'm going to get stung by that wasp. Yeah. And but in between each of their iterations, they sell it. They're like, okay, this is good for now. I'm going to sell you Windows 3.1. And now I'm going to keep working. And I'm going to incorporate new learning and new technology and new innovation. And now I'm going to sell you Windows 95. And they keep going back. And, you know, okay, you can love or you can hate it, Microsoft. And you can be frustrated. But you got to look at that model. Like, it can work for you too. That, like, if you wait until you know everything about everything, you're never going to make any money in your business. You need to make money now.
Right.
You need to be willing to make some mistakes along the way, even if it's with a small subset of customers, and issue patches like Microsoft does in order to learn how to better serve your clients and how to make a scalable solution. So that's what happened in software. And obviously I already told you, like, it's not a large jump. So I was an entrepreneurship coach, and I was like, I'm seeing this linear thinking, and I'm like, what you need is not a straight line. What you need, guys, is a spiral. And so I started teaching my clients the spiral development method of engineering development. Only I coded it in, entrepreneurial language, or businessy language. But it's the same thing. And the phases that I talk, and so I in Spiral, I talk about the process, this process. And I'll give you the phases in a minute. But from there, like I told you when we talked about innovation, if you view your business as an exercise in design, and you obviously your products that you're offering are an exercise in design, but your business as a whole is also an exercise in design, designing this business. It's not a far jump to say that, you know, you're designing a life. And so you're going to just use the same design principles, and you're going to use the same design process of being inspired. So the first stage, I'll tell you right now, the first phase of the spiral is inspiration. You get the idea. Maybe you get a bunch of ideas. Maybe you get an idea not only about the general solution, but about how you could do it. Not just the what, but the how, right? So that's the first stage, inspiration. Brainstorming. No idea is a bad idea, right? And then you start to cull that down, and you start to get tired of the idea phase, and you're like, I want to do something. You're ready for the second stage. That's implementation. That's when you actually start to put it together. That's when you really move from the what to the how, because you're like, okay, how am I going to offer this to my clients? How am I going to write that book? How am I going to build that widget? Because it's all the same.
Right.
How am I going to implement this idea in my life, this new thing I want to put in my life, right? That's implementation. Then, and so this is the how, this is the building phase, not to be confused with the third phase, investigation. And that's where you actually put the thing out there. So if you're talking about a product or a business, you're going to put it in front of clients and you're going to test it. Or maybe you don't put it in front of a bunch of clients, but you know, there's some kind of test phase that happens. And if it's in your personal life, this is where you're going to try the thing out. Like, you had the idea, you arranged it all so it could work, you shuffled your schedule around, and now you're going to try it. This is where you start the new exercise program, or, you know, you start the new home organization. You actually go out and buy the bins, you know. And then after you invest, you're testing it, you're putting it out there in front of clients. There's the fourth and final phase. I give it quotes because you're going to go around again, is introspection. And introspection is a drawing back into yourself, back into your team, if you have one, to say, okay, we tried something. How did it go? And, you know, you can talk about cold, hard numbers. Like, what does the data say? How many sales? How satisfied were people on the survey? But you can also talk about emotional factors. Like, how did I feel about that? Was it super stressful, or did I love it? Is this something I want to do with the rest of my life, with the rest of my business? Or did it feel kind of awkward and weird? Like, awkward and weird is a red flag that it's not something you might want to pursue, right? And so it gives you that moment to step back and say, like, okay, what do we learn from that? And like, so now, and then what next? Do we go around again? Does it need to be refined some more? Does it need to be more scalable? Or is that good for now? And I'm going to put up a sales page and I'm going to leave that and I'm going to go develop the next thing and go around the spiral again. And so the reason I say that this is the innovation method that you already know is because this is coded in. This isn't something like you have to learn. This is coded into your DNA. You live on Earth. The planet Earth lives in a cycle. We circle the sun once per year. And as we do that, we are subject to seasonal changes based on our position relative to the sun. So like, you're used to this. Your body craves the rest and darkness of winter, the endless possibility of sprouting in the spring, the heat and wildness of summer, and the harvest season of fall. We've been living this way since we were human. It's coded into your DNA to live this way. So you should be able to look at your own, whatever humans are involved in. Humans aren't robots, right? So this sounds like, oh, it's like touchy-feely woo-woo. And it is. It really is. So you can like dig deep on the woo-woo. Believe me, I do. But it's also out there. Like, humans run businesses, so it's in business. Humans invent widgets, so it's in widgets. Like, everything we touch is infused with this sense of natural cycle, because we're all here. We're all children of Earth, and we all live in cycles all the time. And so I like to say the spiral's there whether you use it or not. So you can either fight against it. Like, sometimes you're naturally in a time of like inspiration when all the ideas are coming and all the ideas are coming. And if you can spend that whole time going, oh my gosh, why can't I just sell some stuff? And then you get really angry and stressed out that you're not selling right now because it's not your time to sell. It's your time for ideas. Or you can be in the middle, you can be in the middle of a launch and people are engaged and people are like singing your praises and you're like, oh, but I have a new idea. Oh, but I write the idea down because you're going to come around again and you're going to be able to flesh it out next time. You don't always have to be in all phases of the spiral. Simple example. I had a client once who came to me and was like, I feel so scattered. I'm multitasking everything. I'm not focusing on anything. I can't get anything done because I'm just so scattered all the time and these ideas just keep coming. She's an inspiration, clearly. And it was like 2 months later, I kid you not, she came to me and was like, I have a one-track mind. I am neglecting everything else in my life. Like, all I can do is work on this thing. I dream it, I eat it, I sleep it. I can't stop thinking about it. And I have other stuff to do. What am I going to do? And I'm like, can I play you your recording back from 2 months ago? So the spiral is there, whether you like it or not. It's already coded in your DNA. You already have it. You already live in it. So like what I love to see you do as an innovator, as someone who's consciously creating your own gift to the world and your own lifestyle, your own existence, is to use that. Don't fight it. Is to use the cycles to build better products, to change the world, to save the planet, to build a life that you love, to build a life that works for your family. Like, it's the kind of the foundation of all of that.
You guys, seriously, like I could let Amy talk for a whole nother day. Like I let you run, Amy, because you were in your zone. I just let you go, girl. I just let you go. And I adore, I am just eating this up like I'm a sponge. And I love your introspection on it. I love your angle that you look at it from. And I can't wait to get your book, first of all. So thespiralbook.com. Go get your copy. We'll put the links in here when we're done. We'll make sure that you have an easy click to go by. And then you have a place where you want people to come hang out with you, hang in your space? Is it just Amy Simpkins on Facebook? And
yeah, you can find me at Amy Simpkins on Facebook or amysimpkins.com. You can link to my social accounts there. I hang out the most on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter. And I love to talk to interesting people. I will leave you with a final thought so that, and I can squeak in my last talking, which is obvious. Because I already told you that the spiral is already coded into you and you can either fight it or work with it, right? And so that's why where you are right now is perfect. So my challenge for you as you sign off of this broadcast is to ask yourself, where am I right now in my own spiral? Like, am I really out there putting stuff out into the world? You're in investigation. Am I building something? You're in implementation. Am I having a lot of ideas, idea generation, and I'm just going crazy with that? That's inspiration. And if you're feeling like you want to take a step back and you need to crawl in a cave for a few weeks, that's introspection. It's normal. It's natural. It does not mean you're lazy. It does not mean you're going to fail at your business. It's necessary for your creative process to take that step back. And I mean, I'm the worst offender at not making time for introspection, but that's the truth. So wherever you are right now and however you're feeling about how you're interacting with the world, it's perfect. It's just a part of your own spiral. So use it. Don't fight it. That's all.
Final words from brilliant mind of Amy Simpkins. And you guys, seriously, I just want more of Amy. I want more of Amy. And I want more of Amy. I really, I really want more of Amy, and your ideas and your thoughts on things, and actually really bringing to light that all the different phases of each one of us. I know the people that are on live with us, all of them are entrepreneurs. There's a couple corporates on with us also, but we all go through these stages, and we just think that we're bat crazy when we're in each one of them, and to know that it's actually, in your words, it's normal. It's the normal cycle. It goes, guess what, with all the seasons, and it goes around the earth, and we do it every 365 days or 365 days in a, 365 a day. I don't know.
Either way,
the
spiral doesn't have to work with the earth, and it doesn't have to work like anybody else's spiral.
Yeah. And I love it. I seriously, I cannot wait to get your book. Thespiralbook.com, you guys. AmySimpkins.com is how you find her on all social media. You guys, thank you so much for your time, Amy. I adore you. I adore your thought process. I adore who you are in the world. And I'm grateful to have you on the show today. You guys, if you have been with us live, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for letting us run over and letting Amy fly with her goodness. We really appreciate you hanging out with us. If you're watching the replay, make sure you tell us that you watched the replay. Let us know what you thought about the show today. So we are here live every Tuesday and Thursday. Every now and then we have special shows. So you'll see some of those coming up again soon, very, very soon. And we love you guys, and we will see you right back here soon. Take care.